Hey everybody, it's time for another Game Picker video, and today I'm gonna talk about some games. Yeah man, I will show some recent pickups that I've also been actively playing for a while now, and also will show some games that I've picked up that I was definitely not anticipating to pick up even, because they are for a console that I don't really collect for. And the funny thing is, I want to say I've never spoken really about this console or shown like something about the game. I actually only own one game for that console. Anyway, I will talk about that like later. Let's start with the games that I've been playing, and one of them is Silent Hill F. And also I finished this game. Really enjoyed it. I like the story, I like the setting. Yeah, nothing to complain really. Besides the fact that the hard difficulty is really difficult, and I have to be honest, full transparency, around like the 70 or 80 mark percent, I kind of stopped playing it on hard and actually moved to like the story mode difficulty, because it became a bit too much. Just had to redo sections over and over again. It kind of demotivated me to actually keep playing. So then I was like, no, just stick to story. And that was actually like a very good choice, because even it is story mode, it is still like difficult and difficult enough. And yeah, they should have called it like the medium setting. Anyway, good news though, if you have not played it yet. A patch was released this week, even to balance out like the hard difficulty, and I think they made some good choices to make hard a bit more fair. Anyway, really enjoy Silent Hill F. Started like to play like the new game plus, and stopped playing because I got a different game and felt like, hey, don't burn myself. I really didn't want to burn myself out with Silent Hill F, so I will do like the other endings like later on, but that is definitely something that I need to do, and you should do as well if you only play like Silent Hill F like once. But yeah, it's a very cool game. I like the setting. But yeah, like I said, like I had to stop playing Silent Hill F because I didn't want to burn myself out, but also because I wanted to play like a different game. And this is a game that was somewhat on the list, but more like, yeah, not really like in a rush, and I'm not too sure, and also had not finished like the first one yet. And that's Death Stranding 2. Well, I fixed the mistake of not finishing Death Stranding 1. So after I ordered this one for 40 euros, I actually booted up like Death Stranding 1 and to finish the game, because I left like somewhere like near the end. If you've played like Death Stranding 1, I stopped playing rightly after like the snowy mountain bit. So I had like 5 hours left or so to actually finish the game. It happened twice, right? That I stopped playing that game near that spot on the PlayStation 4 as well. So I was so close, but somehow at that moment, my brain said, "No, let's pick it up tomorrow to play more of it," and I never actually do that again. But this time I said, like, no, you need to finish it. Just do it, and I did. And then started playing like Death Stranding 2. I like delivering the packages. I like walking around in that environment. I like it when the camera zooms away and like some song starts to play that I never heard of. I like the vibe, you know. I like upgrading things in Death Stranding 2. I don't care about the story at all. Just gonna be honest. I always thought like, yeah, man, I'm a Kojima fan. Still do. But I don't understand like Death Stranding at all. I know what the story is about with 1. With 2 though, I'm like, sure, whatever. It's okay-ish. Listen, to me, I don't want to say like it's a pet peeve, but the thing that I dislike about Death Stranding 2 and just the story with both games. It's just, it feels like everybody is just making shit up, and it's very and nothing makes sense, and some of the things all I feel a bit like icky. Like I don't know what the intent was to do certain things, or it's always about the babies and the mothers, and it's like, I think my biggest problem with Death Stranding 2 is, and I really don't want to complain about it, because I do like the gameplay, because it also reminds me a lot about Metal Gear V or 5. In Death Stranding 2, people have a lot of, like, have a certain tendency to just come up with names and say, yeah, this thing happened, and I call it something. And no one says, like, why would you call it like that? And, everybody just rolls with it. And that is why I mean, like, everybody just seems to, like, make shit up, and no one questions, like, the shit that is being made up. There was even, like, a worse moment in the game where they find, like, a person and they introduce them, and someone from your crew just says, like, yeah, I call them tomorrow because tomorrow is about this and this. And right, maybe that person just has, like, an actual name. It's not up to you to call them a name and to come up with a whole story, like, why they should be called, like, tomorrow. Like, it doesn't make sense. Even the reasoning behind it doesn't make sense. You give someone a name, that person might have, like, a name. Just leave them alone. And why do you have to convince yourself, like, why that is the name? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm like, oh man, if you would tell me, like, it was, like, AI generated, I know it's not, but it's just like, let's go, man, let's go wild. We will see where it ends, but just, like, add stuff to it, and nothing really goes, like, actually, like, in depth about, like, why. And that is why it's so difficult to actually follow, like, I like the gameplay. Speaking of gameplay that I do like, but yeah, this is a game that I sadly had not been able to play yet. I played Super Mario Galaxy, but never had, like, a chance to actually play Super Mario Galaxy 2. Just didn't want to bother with the remote. But yeah, I was able to pick this one up at launch, so I have it, like, for a while now, for around, like, €40. So that was definitely, like, a very good deal. But yeah, more difficult or more busy with Death Stranding 2, and really want to finish that one first before I start to play, like, this one. At least this one is high on the list of games that I wanted to check out. But yeah, lately what I've been doing a lot is let's play a game on the PlayStation 5, and once that is done, play a game on the Switch, and maybe after that, like, a game on a different console. But I like that switching around and not sticking to, like, a specific console. And I think what happens is that I kind of changed up, like, the genres that you play. So yeah, it has been fun. You know what else is fun? Making lists of games that you might want to add to a collection for a console that you only have, like, one game for. That is actually fun, and that is something that I've been doing for a while now. For a console that I have owned since, like, around the launch of that console. But yeah, never really owned a game for the console besides, like, a game that I'm holding in my hand now for maybe like 2 years or so. But yeah, never owned a game for the console. I don't know why. But yeah, let's start with showing the game that I've actually picked up yet. And then I will show the game that I already owned. But I picked up 2 games for this console. But yeah, the first one that I'm going to show definitely triggered a lot of things. And suddenly, like, oh yeah, this console is kind of cool, man. And why don't I own, like, any other games for that? But I think there's a reason behind it. Anyway, it's Zombie Revenge for the Sega Dreamcast. Sega, I like Zombie Revenge, man. So Zombie Revenge is a beat 'em up like game, like 3D for the Sega Dreamcast. And yeah, you can play it alone, but also in co-op. You might be able to play with 3 people. Let's check the back of the box. No, 1 to 2. So fact checked myself already. But yeah, it's just a very fun beat 'em up, and as the name kind of implies, you fight against like zombies and other creatures. It's a very campy game, and yeah, there's a big reason why it's so campy, because this is also set in the House of the Dead universe. But yeah, in the past, when we had a copy of Zombie Revenge, we played a ton of this, and just have like fond memories. And yeah, when I think about like the Sega Dreamcast, Zombie Revenge is definitely like high on the list. But yeah, I had this favorite like for a long time now, like a listing on Vinted. But yeah, it was always like, yeah, you don't really do anything with the Sega Dreamcast. You don't have it like hooked up, and I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know, but somehow I never really got further than, yeah, you own a console, but you don't own any games. Besides for yeah, a while I did actually own like a copy of Virtua Tennis for the Sega Dreamcast, because a seller had it, and if I added this to it, I got like a discount, and it was like, yeah, okay, maybe at some point. And Virtua Tennis is actually like a very good game for the Sega Dreamcast. But yeah, I had it like in my list for a long time on Vinted, but never pulled the trigger. But constantly I was like, I hope it doesn't sell, and I will purchase it when I have like the budget for it. But yeah, decided to pull the trigger. I was like, yeah, man, let's go. I want to play Zombies Revenge. Yeah, the tricky part is, did I actually explain this already? I don't think I did. But this is an NTSC copy of Zombie Revenge. And that is because I own a NTSC Dreamcast. So a Dreamcast from the US. During that launch or shortly thereafter, we imported one. I don't actually know why, but we were so stuck in like, no, it needs to be 60 hertz, because that was always our focus with, PlayStation and definitely like the Super Nintendo. And I think that was maybe the reasoning. Like, yeah, no, we need to have like the NTSC one, without knowing that the PAL Dreamcast is actually also 60 hertz in most cases, and even more games support like 60 hertz. So yeah, lately I've been doing a lot of digging like into the Dreamcast, reading up about it, and finding out like the best way to hook it up, and as mentioned before, making the list of games that I would like to have like in my collection. And yeah, Zombie Revenge was one of them. But yeah, the problem is it is an NTSC Dreamcast. But yeah, luckily you are able to play like PAL games on an NTSC Dreamcast if you have like a action replay disc, or there are some other discs like a boot disc. But yeah, you are able to play like PAL games on an NTSC Dreamcast, and also the other way around if you have like one of those options. But yeah, I always prefer like definitely prefer like these cases from the NTSC Dreamcast. They are just like jewel cases, like the CD cases, instead of like the PAL cases. I like the look of the PAL cases, but they are so fragile. They all seem like broken when you check like listings online for those games. But yeah, the thing that I just said, like the PAL games, that they are actually like 60 hertz. And that is something that I did not know yet. So I only discovered that like a week or so ago, or 2 weeks. So suddenly I was more like, yeah, I would like to have some games for the Sega Dreamcast. I also picked up Mr. Driller. I think I've already shown this without actually noticing it, but I will. It's Mr. Driller. Anyway, so I've been doing some digging, like 60 hertz. Suddenly, like discovered that, and I started to think like, oh, do I even want to collect like NTSC? So based on the list that I made with the games, I started to compare like the prices, Like, is this actually like doable? And how many NTSC games do I actually see like on eBay within like this region, like Europe, or like on Vinted? And yeah, not a ton. And not a ton. Like, really, not a lot. And sometimes the prices are even like a bit higher, but also sometimes like way lower because people are just not able to sell them. Anyway, they're like the availability of like NTSC games is like not a ton. And yeah, then you start like to check like eBay from the US or something, and the prices are just like super high, man. When you account for like tax and like the shipping costs. So suddenly it was like, yeah, no, if you're gonna do this, you should not collect like NTC games. But I was like, I really like the jewel cases. They look good. And sometimes I think the cover is like better. And I'm so used to collect like NTSC games. But then I said, I thought, you know, just don't do it. Just don't. Like with the GameCube, I collect the PAL games for the GameCube. Like, how nice it is to actually pick up like games at conventions and being able to order them from Vinted and not having to deal with eBay. So I purchased Mr. Driller and Zombie Revenge, but definitely those are the final NTSC games that I will buy. Because I was able to purchase Mr. Driller for like 50% of the price. That is actually listed like a price charting. I spent around like 20 to 30 euros for Mr. Driller, but I've seen it like for 60, 70, and even for like 90 on eBay already. And I know if you import it like the price from eBay, it's cheaper, but in the end, it will become like 60 or 70 with all the costs involved. And similar to like Zombie Revenge, that one was like around like 25. But quickly, Mr. Driller, wonderful puzzle game, is also one of those games that I played like a ton in the past, like on the Dreamcast. You just have to dig down. It's like a puzzle game, but you have to drill down and just have to make sure that you do that correctly and that certain blocks don't fall on you. And you kind of have to check like the shapes and check if blocks are just not able to fall like further away the more that you dig. It's just very fun, very bright, colorful, like the music, and there are ports or different versions, but to me, like the Dreamcast version always seems like the best. But yeah, so ordered some NTC games, and suddenly I was like, oh, right, the games are 60 hertz. And I think I discovered that while checking out, like, okay, what's actually the best way to connect a Dreamcast to like a RetroTink or to ATV. And you have some solid like RGB SCART cables or component cables. But often it's more like the VGA, just have like a VGA cable. And from there, the discussions I saw, like, oh yeah, it's 60 hertz. And if you do that with PAL games, even more games actually support like 60 hertz. And only just a couple of them don't support like VGA cable or 60 hertz. And I was like, oh, from the info that I gathered so far, the PAL Dreamcast actually seems maybe a bit better than the NTSC Dreamcast. I don't know for sure, but so far that seems like it. And I was like, yeah, okay, I will focus on PAL. And also, the PAL games are just way more cheaper than I actually would have guessed. Because somehow I always assumed like Dreamcast games were like super expensive, or maybe a bit more expensive than, I don't know when you compare to what, but yeah, just in my mind it was like, yeah, no, it's probably not like very doable. But yeah, most of the game prices are actually quite okay. Now, why was I thinking that it was probably like more expensive to collect for the Dreamcast, or why prices would be or game prices would be like higher? Because it didn't sold it well. It was canceled like after or within like a year and a half or so, or 2 years, and I have never seen a Dreamcast like where I live. Like I don't have like a vivid memory of walking into a store and seeing like a Dreamcast. But that might be due to me not looking for it because we had like an NTSC Dreamcast and were not able to play like PAL games. But yeah, my assumption was like, okay, these games didn't sell that well, so the availability is not there, and that's actually correct. Like, I don't see like a lot of Dreamcast games like online, but somehow it's a console that a lot of people apparently kind of like ignore. And I was thinking, while making this list, why would you ignore the Dreamcast? Man, there are some fantastic games. So right now I have a list of like 30 to 35 games, and I really want to focus on that. But I've been really focusing on checking out, okay, which games are kind of like arcade games, games that you can play like for half an hour or an hour and just be done with it. And you know, luckily, like a lot of games are inspired or ports of like actual arcade games. So yeah, quickly you have like a lot of games that fit within the criteria, but I have also been focusing on games that I've actually played and enjoyed in the past. So not, I really don't want to add games to that I don't have any experience with, unless some people say like, yeah, you really need to. There are just a couple games that are that I would love to check out, but they are just like super expensive. Something like a Cannon Spike. It's a Capcom game, like top-down, kind of shoot 'em up-y esque, but that one is above like 400. And listen, I have a budget, okay, and 400 is just too much. Yeah. So that was my Dreamcast tangent, I guess. Hey, listen, if you have any suggestions for like a Dreamcast game that I should check out, do let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I'm making this list, and I'm not gonna go wild with the Dreamcast, but definitely lately the Dreamcast has like a certain catalog that really fits in the time and the type of game that I want to play. You know, again, quick burst, because Silent Hill wasn't that long, but Death Stranding 2, man, it just seems it never seems to end. I'm 40 hours in, and I feel like I'm in the intro. Like I'm making a mistake in this game, but you know it's never ending because people just keep up making shit up in this game. It's just like, yeah, go there, man, because Tar. There's a thing going on there. Yeah, just go, and we'll meet you up there, and also deliver the packages. Okay, I will do what you say. Anyway, Dreamcast, Zombie Revenge, Mr. Driller. Very happy about those, and definitely we'll have some other Dreamcast games to show at some other point. Yeah. Anything else? Nah, man. It's Sunday. Have a nice day. Have a good weekend. Or, yeah, what is actually like left. Just have a nice day, man. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you all later. And